That's good enough.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's time for Fantasy Football Semi-Pros.
We got one viewer, dog. I know. I'm watching. How's it not see me?
You're tired. Welcome back to Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. I'm Brandon. With me is Ryan.
What up?
Ryan, how's your Thursday been?
It's Thursday. It's almost Friday. We got the Bengals on Thursday Night Football tonight. It's a good day.
Which, my question is, where's your orange and black?
It's in the wash.
Fair answer, I guess.
Sorry.
All right.
After all these years, I've only bought one T-shirt.
At least it hasn't gone the same way as your Purdue shirt.
We'll get to that another time. Not my best day, that's for sure.
All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into the podcast and get going here. So first thing we're going to talk about is the ESPN Pick'em results.
Man, I'm doing good.
So Ryan, he did win this week between me and him. He had a
for the third straight week.
Yep, he had a 13-3 record. Hopefully, at some point this will work out for your bets as well.
Hopefully, yeah. I placed a $25 free bet on a 14-game parlay, and the payout is over $8,000. I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Fingers crossed.
For overall record, he's 35-13.
That's right.
For week 2, I went 11-5. My overall record is 29-19.
I mean, that's nothing to write home about, but it's nothing to be sad about.
And then, of course, we just want to bring it up again. Devin lost to the coin.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
I don't even know what that soundbite's from. I just kind of enjoy it.
I think it's from The Office. I think it's Michael Scott.
Yeah, that's not Michael Scott.
Wow. Well, anyway, Devin is currently 25-23.
She went 6-10 this week. Both her and the coin picked the Eagles on Monday night.
Wow, that's bad. But the coin is 8-8 and 19-29 overall. Devin's not here to defend herself, so we're gonna ridicule her quite a bit.
It's not that it'd stop us if she was here.
Yeah, that's true too.
All right. So Ryan, you ready for some trivia?
Yeah, I guess so.
Greetings and welcome. I want to play a game.
Okay.
What do you think about that drop?
I love Saul. That was a good first couple movies, and then they kind of went crazy with it. So.
Yeah, I only remember watching the first few, but I figured that was just... I looked around for a while last night, and that was probably the best one I could find for a drop.
And we got like 85 minutes before the game starts, so let's get going.
I think we'll be fine. All right, so this one...
Oh, I can't look. Sorry. I didn't see nothing.
5 players have finished as a top 12 quarterback each week this season. Who are they?
All right, what now?
5 players have finished as a top 12 QB each week. Who are they?
Tom Brady.
Yes.
Matthew Stafford.
No.
Oh, okay. Derek Carr.
Yes.
Well, he's the only one that's done for 300 yards every game. I don't feel like game 1 Lamar Jackson didn't do all that well, so I'm going to skip on him. Kyler Murray.
Nope.
Interesting. Who else is out there? So I'm 2-2 right now, right?
You've got 2 correct. Brady and Carr.
Oh, man. Aaron Rodgers would have to be one of them.
Nope. He didn't play well his first week. He had like 1 point.
Well, I thought about the second week.
Nope. He had to be in the top 12 each of the 3 weeks.
Oh, each of the 3 weeks. Lamar Jackson, then.
Nope.
Okay. About halfway through all the QBs. Eventually, I'm going to get him. Jared Goff?
Nope.
Not Kyler Murray. Damn, dude, this is hard. Why am I blanking, man? Can't be Joe Burrow. He's nowhere even close. Can't be Heineke.
Nope.
Can't. Josh Allen.
Nope.
Man, Sam Darnold.
Nope.
What the?
Who's almost the consensus number 1 QB every year for like the last 3 years?
Patrick Mahomes.
He's one.
Justin Herbert.
Nope.
Dak Prescott. He had a bad game though.
Nope.
For a while, a couple of weeks.
But one of these other two did play on Monday night.
Hurts?
Yes.
How?
His rushing upside.
That's 4 of the 5, right?
That's 4 of the 5.
Oh, okay, let me just start. Can't be Big Ben. Baker Mayfield?
Nope.
Nope. Not Mac Jones. Nope. Jacoby Brissett? Nope. Heineke? Nope. Carson Wentz? Absolutely not. Oh man, I'm running out of teams. Not Danny Dimes.
Nope.
Oh man, Russell Wilson.
Nope.
Fudge. I'm blanking, man. I am blanking. Chargers, Rams already did those two. Seahawks, no. Teddy Bridgewater?
Nope. You told me no more receiver ones.
Who's the fifth QB?
Kirk Cousins.
Oh, that's who I was thinking before you said he played on Monday night. I was thinking Kirk Cousins, and I was thinking, okay.
Hurts played Monday night. That's why I gave you that hint.
So yeah, and then I thought it got me off the track of them.
So it was Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, Derek Carr, and Kirk Cousins.
That's surprising. I kind of like Cousins now all of a sudden.
Cousins has been he's been a good quarterback, and like I said, I had him on the fantasy team last year on a dynasty league, and he was surprisingly efficient and productive. Yeah.
Any more trivia?
I don't think so. I'm going through just to make sure I don't have any, but no, I don't have any.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So we already kind of previewed tonight's game. We're not going to do that again because most people won't watch us before then.
Right.
So our first game on this slate, we got Washington football team at Atlanta. Washington's currently favored by 1.5, but Atlanta actually started out as the favorite.
I said it this week. This pick'em's going to be rough. There's a couple bottom dwellers in there, and then there's a couple teams where you're just like, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, so we'll start running through some injuries and stuff. Antonio Gibson
did not participate.
He didn't practice this week. They're saying it's a shin injury. He had a sleeve over his leg. If he plays, I think he's a lock because this Atlanta defense isn't very good.
Nope. But they held the Giants to 6 points or whatever it was, or 12. I don't know, 13. Who cares?
If he doesn't play, J.D. McKissick is definitely a plug and play for you. If he's out there on your waiver wire, go pick him up now.
I would say for this.
I wouldn't even argue Ryan doing that right now during the show.
In what league? He's not in our dynasty league.
Our keeper league.
Why would I play him?
Oh, you know, man, you're good on running backs there.
I got Robinson, forgot. Taylor, Kamara.
Marshall Fabricant, Marvin Jones, or Hopkins at wide receiver 2.
I would say watch the injury report for Hopkins because after week 1, he's been kind of silent since that first half injury against the Vikings. But if they're saying he's good to go and healthy, I would still play Hopkins. Play your studs.
It's hard to say Marvin Jones there. The Bengals defense has been surprisingly good.
That's true too.
But Hopkins is actually, and I'll get to this later, he has a really tough matchup with I think Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah,
and likely be shadowing him. I would probably still go. I'd probably still go Hopkins, but in the end, it's your team. Because I do see Marvin Jones plays tonight. I'd probably go Hopkins.
I'm with you there. I would play Hopkins. Play your stud.
Yeah, in this case, I'm trusting the talent over.
It's kind of like
matchup.
It's kind of like thinking of Houston's situation. They don't have a quarterback, and Brandon Cooks is really the only viable option there on that offense, and he still goes out and gets 7-8 receptions a game. So I would play Hopkins. Hey,
you're welcome. Thanks for making this interactive. That's what we're wanting from this.
Yeah, so. We're definitely.
All right, so back to Atlanta. J.D. McKissick, if he's there, pick him up. If Gibson doesn't play, I think he's definitely a smash play.
Yes.
Terry McLaurin, he's getting the targets, but he's had 4 catches, I think, each week. I think good things are going to come, but
stay patient with him.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard this early in the season. I'm not doing well. I've started off pretty rough this season, and it's hard staying patient with my guys.
Yeah,
So,
Marshall, what's your question?
totally get it. We're ready, man. Hit us up.
While he's working on that, also Logan Thomas, he's tied for the team leading catches, and is definitely a target for Heineke in the red zone. He's another guy that you're running out there.
Chuba Hubbard. Definitely play Chuba. Henderson with the Rams.
I'm trying to think who
Cardinals.
Carolina plays this week.
The Colts.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's the Colts. No. Indianapolis is playing the Dolphins.
Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I just looked
Dallas.
Both defenses are good.
I would say Chuba.
I definitely say watch the injury report, see what's going to happen with Henderson, but I
think the Arizona Rams game is going to be a shootout, so they're probably going to be slinging the ball a lot.
That is entirely possible. I do see, though, Carolina, we saw last year when McCaffrey went down, Mike Davis, who we've seen probably an average running back,
was good.
He was good. So I'd go Chuba.
I'm going with Chuba as well. Absolutely.
All right, so as for the Washington-Atlanta game, I did want to bring up Curtis Samuel may be somebody to go out there and stick on the end of your bench. He could be back and playing this week, but they have designated him to return from the IR.
Marshall, how patient are you? Because Eckler has he's if you're a little weak at wide receiver, I would take that trade.
Yeah,
because Eckler has PPR.
I consider Eckler CMC light, and
right.
he's gonna have value. And Mike Williams right now he's going off, and if he can sustain this pace,
it's that 5th year breakout for wide receiver.
Typically, I prefer to be on the side of getting the best player for the multiple.
Yeah, but if you're weak at wide receiver, I would take that. That's a solid trade.
Yeah, and if you can wait out the Christian McCaffrey injury, I would wait.
I wish I had seen somebody offered me that. Here's my thing. CMC 2 years in a row has gotten hurt, and I know they could be completely unrelated, but I mean these workhorse bats, unless you're Derrick Henry, they seem to be getting hurt. Yeah, man. I still like Eckler, though. He's going to be a consistent scorer. He might not do your 35, 40 points a game.
Yeah.
But if you're weak at wide receiver, I would strongly consider that trade.
I would say if you have Hubbard, like it sounds like you do, and Henderson, I would go ahead and keep McCaffrey.
That's fair.
All right, and then so
your roster's stacked. Yeah, hold on to CMC. Hold on to CMC then. If you have Ridley and Kupp, there's no reason to add Williams.
All right, so looking at the Atlanta side of this Washington-Atlanta matchup, I have a note in here. I prefer Patterson over Davis right now. Patterson's getting that passing work.
Yeah, he's the PPR guy, and that's all that you really want.
If you're desperate, I think Patterson's a good start or a flex start. Mm-hmm. Just wanted to bring up Russell Gage. He's considered week to week.
So if you can, try to target Olamide Zacchaeus, what is his name?
Olamide Zacchaeus.
Olamide Zacchaeus would be a good pickup if you need somebody in your flex. It could be. Washington's defense is pretty stout too.
They haven't been so far this year. They've actually been pretty bad.
They played the Bills
but they have played some good offenses.
Yeah, I still think that front four's got
one other thing I did want to say about this matchup though, Kyle Pitts, be patient with him. They're lining him up more as a wide receiver, and the the Giants actually do have some good
Thanks,
DBs.
Marshall. Good luck this weekend.
Yep. The Giants do have some good DBs, and their number one DB was actually shadowing Pitts, so that could explain why Pitts didn't have a very good week this week.
I need him to have a better week this week. But who's your pick in this game? I know.
I think I am going to go with Atlanta.
When I made my parlay bets, I only put this game into one of the 3 parlay bets. I like to place multiple 14 game parlay bets and place $1 on them. I mean, at the end of the day, I lose $3, but if I get lucky like I did last year, big payout. I'm going Washington football team on this one, but I would not be surprised. I avoided picking this game in my parlay bets. There's a couple of them in here.
All right, so our next game, we have Houston at Buffalo. Buffalo is currently favored by 16 points. Now, these spreads are as of last night. Brandon Cooks is the only player on Houston that I would consider playing, but you got to watch out because he is likely to be shadowed by Tre'Davious White, so he could have a down game. One thing I do want to say about this, Tre'Davious White, he doesn't usually shadow when the wide receiver goes into the slot, and they do move Brandon Cooks around, so he could still have some big plays, but be prepared to kind of be a little disappointed this week.
I look at it like this, man. Cooks has been the only surefire thing in Houston this year, and he still produces.
Yeah.
Their best DBs are on him every single game, no matter what.
But Tre'Davious White's one of those true lockdown DBs.
Yeah, you're right, but I just think he's going to get his opportunities. He's going to find the holes. He's going to get open. He's going to get his receptions.
But I am saying be prepared. There could be a down week this week. So keep your expectations kind of managed.
I'm still thinking double-digit points for him. At least 10.
Other than that, you're not starting anybody on Houston.
No.
For the Bills, you got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. I think those are surefire lock plays. Moss, if you're not really desperate, I think he's had back-to-back like 20-point weeks, I think it is.
Yeah, he's definitely on the rise as the lead RB1 there in Buffalo.
This game, if it goes the way it should be a blowout. He should see work.
Yeah, he's going to see a lot of carries, and I think they might work Sanders in there too to see how he does. But if you're going to pick an running back from this backfield this week, I would definitely agree with Brandon and say Moss is your go-to guy.
And then I just want to bring up Dawson Knox, somebody that you can pick up off the waiver wire. He's had a touchdown back-to-back weeks, which in the end, that's what you're looking for in a tight end.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen gets a lot of touchdown passes.
Yeah, he does, and he also gets a lot of touchdown runs. So if you have Josh Allen, you're doing great.
But I'm just saying, like, you have worse options than Dawson Knox right now, who's actually showing that he's playing well.
No, you're right. I agree with that. But again, it could be a blowout and Dawson Knox could get 3 touchdowns, or it could be a blowout and he doesn't get anything, or it could be close. Yep. We could be surprised.
I mean, any game could be close, but I'm banking that this is going to be the blowout we expect.
Yeah.
I'm choosing Buffalo.
I'm going Buffalo as well. I believe I did that.
I believe.
Man, we were up to 3 viewers.
New record.
Yeah.
Next game we have Detroit at Chicago. Chicago is currently favored by 3 points.
I also avoided this bet, this game on my parlays, man. It's going to be tough. I went back and forth on this.
Well, we'll start with the Detroit side. Swift, did you hear what actually Dan Campbell came out and said recently?
You're going to see a lot more of Dondre.
You're going to see a lot more of DeAndre Swift.
Which might hurt Williams.
It could, but at the same time, I think he's earned his spot.
Yeah, I mean, he did it as well.
And he did this with Aaron Jones ahead of him in Green Bay as well.
Yeah, he's still... I just want to see how that comment plays out.
Yeah.
Before I put him in a lineup somewhere, even in the flex.
Yeah, and from the Detroit side, you're starting Hawkinson, but I will say, manage your expectations again this week. Chicago's actually been good against tight ends so far this year.
Hawkinson killed me last week, bro. I think he only had like
2 catches for 10 yards.
3 points, something like that, yeah.
2 catches on 2 targets for 10 yards.
Bad.
As for the Chicago side, Matt Nagy, I don't know what to do with this guy.
Yeah.
Any one of these 3 QBs could be the starter this week.
That's between Falk, Fields, and Dalton.
But from what I'm hearing from him, Andy Dalton, if he's healthy, he's the starter. I think Fields, they're saying, is still the number 2, and Foles is still the number 3. Andy Dalton, he has registered 2 limited practices, so keep an eye on what they're saying. Keep an eye on the injury report. Fields, he had a hurt hand, but he was full practice, full go. So I'm guessing it's one of those 2 that's going to start. I'm probably avoiding I'm probably avoiding this QB situation altogether right now.
Yes.
Darnell Mooney, he was limited with a groin injury on Wednesday. I haven't seen the report from today. But one of the biggest busts so far this year, Allen Robinson.
Yeah, man, I think it has a lot to do with the QB situation going on.
I don't think it's just a QB situation, though. I think it's a lot of the offensive line situation.
Yeah, I mean,
so when Dalton's out there, we know he's basically step, throw.
I think the only sure play here is Montgomery, David Montgomery at running back.
In this matchup, I wouldn't be against it.
If you have Montgomery, I would throw him in there at RB2. But, I mean, going back to just who has the upper edge in this game, man, Detroit's lost them. They lost by 8 to the 49ers week 1. They got blew out by the Packers. And they played the Ravens really tough last week.
They should have won that game.
We talked
about that, so we're not going to go more into that one. But
And this Bears team, man, if they can't score.
They can't score, but they still have good defense.
They have a good defense, but I think at the end of the day, after last week, Detroit's going to come out fired up. And they're playing a rival on their home at the rival's home field.
Which, did you hear? I think Chicago, the Bears actually recently purchased like a plot of land elsewhere, so they could be leaving Soldier Field soon.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, but I'm going with Detroit. I'm going with the upset here. I think the Lions get their first win of the season. I think they come out and
bite kneecaps,
play a good game. I think they've played pretty good games, except for
the Packers, but the Packers were playing in scorched earth mode.
Yeah, they were
coming out there. They were going to beat anybody that night.
And I still, man, this Nagy team is just I don't know. I don't expect Chicago to do very well this season. I took Detroit in this game, but
I've been back and forth on this one, but I think I decided upon Detroit as well.
That's fair. I figured you would go with the Bears.
I thought about it, but my gut's been telling me Detroit.
Hey, if my supervisor Brian is watching, sorry, man. I just don't think the Bears got it this week, but I could be wrong.
All right, so our next game we got Carolina at Dallas. Dallas is currently 4.5-point favorites.
Another one to flip up in the air, man. I wanted to avoid this in my parlay bets because.
So we already talked about Chuba Hubbard. I think he's going to get quite a bit of work, but I think that he's not going to get the Christian McCaffrey level work.
No, I think they're going to tone it down just a little bit because once you're on your second RB, you got to really kind of keep him good to go until the guy's back.
And then I want to mention DJ Moore, who right now he's having a heck of a year. He's going to be shadowed by Trayvon Diggs, who's another good shutdown corner.
Trayvon Diggs played one heck of a game Monday night.
Do you know?
That was impressive.
Both Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Diggs have had a reception in each of their 3 games. And by reception, I mean interception.
Yeah,
they've each had one each game.
That's fair. He took one back to the house Monday.
I'm just saying with Moore, you're probably starting him, but lower your expectations there.
I think this one's going to be a shootout.
Yeah. And despite Darnold being the 13th best QB in fantasy so far, I'd probably avoid him this week. Dallas's defense has actually looked good. Micah Parsons has looked really good so far this year, especially at the end.
I think that entire defense has played really solidly.
They definitely improved from last year.
That's very true.
As for the Dallas side, you're starting Zeke, you're starting Dak, you're starting Lamb, Cooper.
Yeah.
Cedric Wilson could be a deep play.
I would say you're starting Schultz.
Dalton Schultz is another good one to watch. He's definitely seemed to be the better tight end of him and Jarwin.
And everybody thought Jarwin was going to be the guy.
Last year. No one was really sure this year after Jarwin was coming back from injury.
Jarwin got hurt last year.
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to be the guy last year.
He was.
Until Schultz got...
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought everybody thought Jarwin was going to be the guy, but Schultz is definitely... He's definitely a tight end.
I think they're splitting about the snaps about evenly, but Schultz seems to be running more passing routes.
Yeah, he seems to be the better receiving of the two.
All right, and I mean, other than that, Pollard, he could be a flex play, but last game you didn't see much passing work. And without the passing work, he's not going to be valuable.
I think this game's going to be a lot closer than the game on Monday night.
Yeah.
It's going to be high scoring, so he might get in there and get some receptions. He only has one more target on the season than Ezekiel Elliott. So that's something to keep in mind. He's not getting the touches as Elliott, but he has one more target in the passing game than Elliott.
And I will say right now, Carolina's actually been a good run defense. Now, granted, they haven't played anybody truly good, truly great right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if Zeke has a little bit of a down game.
Kamara even still put up 20 against them, so.
I thought, no, that was the game that he was shut down.
He still had 20 points.
He did?
It's just a PPR machine.
Oh, I don't remember that one. I don't really have any shares of Kamara this year.
I don't think he scored a touchdown, but he had I don't know, he still had over 100 combined rushing, receiving, and he did pretty well. Odin, get out. Odin.
Sorry, Ryan's got to take care of his dog.
I'm going with Dallas.
All right, yep, and I chose Dallas as well. I just think this Dallas offense is way too overpowered, and they've got a good up-and-coming defense. So actually, against Carolina, Kamara only had 5.8 points.
PPR?
Yep.
Oh.
4 receptions, 25 receiving yards.
I stand corrected. My bad. Everybody.
8 rush attempts, and 5 yards.
All right, we got 15 games to go.
Not quite, but
12.
Nathan Deering, should I start Moss or Patterson this week? I would go Moss. I think the game script's going to be better for Moss. He's been getting some of the passing work. I would definitely go Moss there.
I think he's going to get more handoffs than anyone else. So, yeah, I would say Moss over Patterson. Right now, I only say that because Atlanta's offense is just
a train wreck,
dumpster fire, whatever you want to call it. I would say Moss. I think he's going to get a lot of work this week.
All right, so our next game, Indianapolis at Miami. Miami's currently favored by 2 points. Jonathan Taylor, he was a limited participant with the knee injury. They're saying nothing is serious. It's nothing serious.
Wentz ankles.
Yeah, ankles. He's a limited participant. He's likely going to play again this week.
Oh, man.
I just kind of want to throw this name out there. T.Y. Hilton. They're saying he's not likely going to be back this week, but he's made great progress from his neck injury so far. He could be one of those end-of-the-bench stashes and see what you have.
Yeah.
Will Fuller for the Dolphins. He injured himself in overtime. He has a chest/elbow injury. He didn't practice Wednesday. I didn't see the report for today, though.
I haven't seen it either.
You're starting Taylor. This Miami defense, after seeing Peyton Barber run all over them, I think Taylor's going to have a good week this week.
I hope so.
I know you do.
I hope so. I got him. I traded for him.
But if the Dolphins follow a similar game plan as last week, you're starting Fuller, you're starting Gesicki with the targets they were getting, especially if it's a PPR. You're starting both of those guys.
Yeah, Gesicki's starting to bounce on the scene like everybody expected him to. So,
as for Indy, I'd start Taylor, and I'd probably start Pittman. Pittman's actually been pretty good so far. And
other than that,
And I will say he actually has a decent week. He's actually in a kind of an easier matchup DB-wise.
Yeah, I'm not... This Miami defense is pretty bad.
All right, Ryan, who is your pick for this game?
I'm shocking the world. I'm going Indianapolis Colts. Again, avoided this in my parlay. I just don't have any faith. I know...
I can't believe I'm banking on the Falcons to make up ground on you.
I know.
So I'm choosing Indy as well.
I know Miami played the Raiders really well last week, but I mean, I think that
it was a high scoring game.
Yeah.
So if they play well, I think it's going to be similar to that.
I'm just hoping Taylor can right the ship and get 3 or 4 scores this week.
All right, so our next game we have Cleveland, who is 2-point favorites at Minnesota. Odell Beckham Jr. He was limited Wednesday. I think he was limited today. He's going to play. But apparently when he took his first hit on Sunday, his shoulder popped out. He played through it and should play this week.
Yeah.
Both Cleveland running backs. You're starting
Hunt.
both of them.
Chubby Hunt.
I hate you.
I just made it up.
Odell Beckham Jr., he has another plus matchup against these DBs. So he's a guy I definitely wouldn't be afraid to run out there on my team. I do think Cleveland could be a good defense to start. They could see a lot of sacks. They just had 9 against Chicago. And Minnesota's defense or offensive line has not been that good so far this year.
No, poor Kirk Cousins. He's still getting it done, though.
Yep.
He's still getting it done.
No matter which running back's out there, Cook or Madison, you're starting whoever's the starter on that one.
Yeah, you just have to follow who they're saying is going to play.
Yep. Cook, he's been upgraded to limited practices both days so far this week. I think he's trending towards playing.
Yep.
Thielen, Jefferson, you're starting either one of those guys if you have them. Did want to bring up Conklin. He did not practice on Wednesday due to a glute and an elbow injury. Ryan, do you want to show people where your glute is?
It's right here.
I have not seen a glute injury. I figured you just wanted to show your butt on camera.
I don't really have one.
But this is the first time I think I've heard of a glute injury for football.
You get kicked in the buttocks, or I mean, got Forrest Gump some money. I will say this. Even if Conklin plays, I don't know if he's a reliable tight end.
Yeah, I'm probably not starting him either.
No.
But I just wanted to bring it up because of the multiple injuries, and it could mean more targets for Thielen and Jefferson, or it could just be that.
And what's that one kid's name that just burst on the scene? Osborne?
KJ Osborne, yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
He's a second-year receiver.
He's pretty good. He burst on the scene against the Bengals.
All right, so Ryan, who is your pick for this game?
I look at it like this. Minnesota could easily be 3-0 going into this if it wasn't for just...
Kickers?
No, Dalvin Cook week 1 and then the kicker week 2. I'm going Minnesota. Cleveland, I don't think they've really played anybody.
They played with Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City, but whatever. And then they haven't really looked all that impressive this year either. And then they beat Houston. Who the heck did they play last week?
Oh yeah, the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. Come on. Yeah, I don't think this Cleveland team's as good as everybody thinks.
All right, so you're going Minnesota. I'm going to go with Cleveland. I think Cleveland's actually a good team.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe they're just one of those teams that play to the potential of their opponent.
And that's entirely possible as well. All right, so our next game, we got the New York Giants at New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 7.5-point favorites. Saquon Barkley was limited. This is a tough matchup. I actually have him in a league where it's a redraft, and I benched him for DeAndre Swift.
That's fair.
Galladay, a hip and toe injury. He was limited Wednesday.
Come here, dog.
He may see an increase in snaps this week, though. Shepard and Slayton, they didn't practice today or yesterday. If they don't practice, they're not playing.
The guys to look at there, maybe, like me, I'm injury prone in one dynasty league. I'm playing Tony for sure, Kadarius Toney, and I might play Colin Johnson.
Yeah, I think Colin Johnson could be a decent play there. I mean, he had a good preseason. They snagged him when Jacksonville cut him, and he played well last week. As for the New Orleans side, I think the only person you're starting here is Kamara right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints this game, but I would not be surprised. They have not looked good since that week 1 win over the Packers. Scott, do you want to say hi? You want to say hi to the camera? Come here. Come here.
And I'm going with the Saints as well.
Come on. Can you see her?
No, you can't see her.
Scott, come here. Scott, you want to be on the internet? Come here.
She is on the internet. Your wife posts her a lot.
Come on. Oh, okay.
All right, so our next game, we got the Tennessee Titans, who are 7 points favorites at the New York Jets. Both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones didn't practice. Both of them, I think, had a hamstring issue.
Yeah.
Brown, they said, is considered week to week. But both of these receivers are guys that, even if they don't practice, you could see them playing.
Only because Julio Jones really old, but that guy shouldn't be practicing anyway. And I have him. But the guys that could take his place, Chester Rogers and the Westbrook.
Ikine.
Yeah, I'm avoiding these guys no matter what.
If in a deep like dynasty league, if you have to, I'd start Ekine, Westbrook Ekine.
I feel like
he led the team in targets last week. Chester Rogers only actually had, I think, 1 target.
But I'm still thinking.
To me, this sounds like a Derrick Henry game.
It's
through and through.
It's gotta be. The offense has to go through Derrick Henry this game. Ryan Tannehill, up to this point in the season, has not impressed me whatsoever.
He's starting to come around, but I think this week I actually benched him in favor of Derek Carr.
He's had a rough go for sure.
You ready for this? Can you
up?
believe Derrick Henry has more receptions than Alvin Kamara so far this year?
Doesn't surprise me.
It does, because Alvin Kamara is just a PPR monster, as you said.
Well, I mean, the Saints' offense is just so grade school now. It's control the ball.
It's not the explosive offense they have with Drew Brees. That's for dang sure. It's not the Winston that we're used to seeing.
No,
the 30 for 30. Those days are behind.
Really mad that they're not letting him unleash it. It's really unfortunate. I think the New Orleans Saints fans are pretty upset because it's not exciting to watch. It's not fun football to watch.
And then on the other side of the ball for the Jets, Jamison Crowder with a groin injury, he was limited Wednesday. He could play this week. Elijah Moore had a concussion. He wasn't spotted at practice yesterday.
I'm still avoiding everybody on this Jets offense.
I would still consider starting Corey Davis, but that's about it.
Oh, man, that's a bold move.
Not really. I mean, he'd be most likely my flex guy, and I am starting him in at least a couple dynasty leagues.
This is a confident 16. Okay, out of 16 games, I'd give this a confidence level of 15 because the Bills get to 16. So I'm second most confident the Titans have this game.
All right, and I am choosing Tennessee as well.
Don't blame me.
All right, so our next game, Kansas City is a 7-point favorite at Philadelphia. Tyreek Hill, he's actually been not necessarily shut down, but he's been underwhelming these last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Teams are actually starting to scheme him out of games.
But you know who they can't scheme out of games?
Travis Kelce.
Kelce. Travis Kelce.
I will say, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyreek Hill gets back. He's back to normal this week. This Philly defense does not look very good. All
I'm saying, after watching Dalton Schultz just kill these guys on Monday night, I think Travis Kelce is going to have a 10 reception, 200-yard game with 3 touchdowns.
I can only hope for numbers like that.
This dude's going to go off.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you're probably starting him, but we started to say he might be showing signs of coming back last week. That was still only a 16-point game. If he doesn't fumble, it's an 18, so I'd probably start him. I don't think this Philly defense is going to stop him all that much.
No, I mean, I traded him away, and then he did well for one weekend, and I could have used those points. But, yeah, I don't think play him if you want.
As for the other side of this ball, as for Philly, you're starting Hurts. We mentioned he's been a top 12 quarterback every game so far, and it's almost all because of his rushing ability. Miles Sanders, though, he only had 2 rushes against the Cowboys.
They played from behind the entire game.
Running backs in general only had 3. You're not going to win games if you're not running the ball at all.
Who was that? Was Boston Scott the only other one? Or was it Kenneth Gainwell?
I think it was Gainwell. Boston Scott actually didn't see any offensive snaps like that very last drive.
I mean, I'm playing Hurts, possibly Ertz, Goddard, and Smith.
Maybe Rager.
Rager, I mean, towards the end there, I mean, in the matchup I had against him, I was playing against Rager last week, and Dak Prescott. I had a 40-something point lead going into Monday night. Nobody left to play. And with 7 minutes left to go, I have a 7-point lead. And then Rager goes off and gets 5 points. And then the very next drive, Dak Prescott does another touchdown pass to Dalton Schultz. I'm like, really, guys? You have a 30-point lead already. You needed another touchdown with 6 minutes to go. So I lost that game by 7, I think it was, at the end of it. Whatever.
All right, and so Ryan, who's your pick to win this game?
I think the Chiefs, they had a rough go last week against the Chargers. I think they bounced back pretty easily.
Yeah, last place in their division, the 1 and 2 Chiefs. I'm choosing them as well. Next game.
Aren't doing much better.
Oh, I know, but
they're third place because the Giants are so bad.
You wouldn't think that the Chiefs will be last place.
Yeah, you're right, but that's a good division this year.
Next game, we have Arizona at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored by 4.5 points. We already referenced this somewhat. DeAndre Hopkins, suffering from a rib injury. He didn't practice Wednesday. If he does play, we mentioned he's likely to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, who was a shutdown quarter.
He's still a wide receiver, too, at that point anyway.
Yeah, you're still starting him, but we've seen what Ramsey can do against the likes of DK Metcalf and others. Lower your expectations a bit. I do think AJ Green and Christian Kirk could be solid starts this week. We saw what they did last week with Hopkins possibly being used as a decoy.
Excuse me. Keep your eye out for Rondell Moore too. He might be a flex play. He's had one good game. I think it was week 2.
I think he's had 2 usable games.
Week 1 and 2.
But last week was rough. He only had, I think, 3 targets, and we had that. Oh, and actually, I want to make a correction. That fumble that I mentioned, where they hit the ball with the flag, it wasn't Kyler Murray's dad. It was his uncle up the bat.
Oh, okay. Randy Johnson hit the bird.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's uncle was at the bat.
But, yeah, I think AJ Green, Christian Kirk are both solid starts here, especially with Hawkins likely drawing Ramsey. As for the other side of this ball, Darrell Henderson Jr., he is limited. He's questionable to play this week. Keep an eye on the injury reports. Did you see what Sean McVay said about him?
No.
They asked if he's going to play. He's like, he had a good look in his eye during the walkthroughs. I don't know how you can tell if a guy's ready to play by just the look in their eye.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Oh, whatever, Nagy. Well, he's better than Nagy. But.
Cooper Kupp, definitely the receiver you want. I just wanted to bring up Robert Woods, though. Like, Stafford's only completing around 56% of his passes to Woods, while all the other receivers, he's hitting around 70% or better.
Well, I mean, is it drops or
I honestly don't. I don't know.
But we gotta go, man.
We're good, man. Relax. We got time. All right, so who's your pick for this game?
It kills me to say this, and I might change it, man. Oh man, right now, I have the Rams at home.
I like Arizona. I like watching them play. I root for them, even though they're not my team, because Kyler Murray's fun to watch.
And Rondell Moore's there.
Yep.
But I still think the Rams are going to take this one.
I agree. Rams right now, they look like the best team in football.
Yeah, Stafford's definitely rebranding himself really well. Not that he needed it, but I think he's playing really, really well in this offense.
Mm-hmm. And they got one of the best defenses out there. Man,
after last week against, I don't know if Arizona came out flat against Jacksonville, they just didn't look their normal selves.
Yeah. You got to expect a bounce-back game from Murray, even though he's playing a tough
They give up a lot of points, that offense does. I mean, they almost lost to the Vikings week 2, and they gave up.
But the Vikings have played with each team they played with.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm just saying these Cardinals give up points.
Yeah. All right.
So
we'll move on to our next game. We got the Seattle Seahawks versus San Francisco 49ers.
The bad part is Arizona has a good defense on paper.
Yeah.
They just give up points.
All right, so Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco's, I think it's surprisingly, it's 2.5-point favorites.
This is another game where I'm just like, man, the Seahawks can't seem to win, and man, it breaks my heart. Not really. I don't really care about either one of these two teams, but it really it hurts me when I make my parlay picks because I look at these two teams and it's like a 50-50. I think San Francisco's been picked 53% of the time at home. I got to go with the home team here. Man, they lost a heartbreaker to Green Bay.
Well,
I'm going San Fran.
Before I make my pick,
sorry,
Gerald Everett, he was placed on the reserve COVID list, not likely to play this weekend.
Yeah, whatever.
Will Disley could be a decent play there.
Maybe.
I think he had a big play last week.
Tanyan had a pretty decent game. Not a great game, but he had a good game against this defense.
But at that point, you're looking for the touchdown upside tight ends. Tyler Lockett, he was limited Wednesday with the hip injury. He's going to play.
He's going to play.
Elijah Mitchell was limited with a shoulder injury. If he's active, I think he's the running back that you want to start from this offense.
Yes.
If he's not, in the deepest of leagues, I think I'd throw the flyer on use check. But other than that, I'm not starting him. Either one.
No, it's Mitchell or nobody.
Kittle, he did not practice Wednesday with a calf injury, but he should be fine to play this week.
I think a couple weeks ago you said Kittle was a slow starter, and I think he had his game last week. He looked good.
Yeah, he did. I think he's starting to get back to where he is. I think I'm going San Francisco here as well. Ryan with his French accent laugh.
I'm not playing.
All right, so we got about 4 more games left here.
Hey, bring us your questions, even though I think we're the only two.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, we'll try to answer those at the end if we don't cover them in the next few. We've already had a couple people ask us questions in there, and we're more than happy to keep answering. Our next game, we have Baltimore Denver. Denver is currently 1-point favorites. Lamar Jackson hasn't practiced yet this week. He has a sore back. Then he's going to play.
Most likely, yeah.
Name to keep an eye on, we mentioned Rashad Bateman. He was designated to return from the IR, so I think they have 3 weeks to actually activate him from here. Melvin Gordon III, he was limited Wednesday with a rib injury, and it was official that KJ Hamler was put on the IR due to an ACL injury.
Look, man, that's why the Denver Broncos wide receiver crew is pretty thin, but the good news for them is they have 2 of their top 3 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, with Judy out, you still have Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton, but one guy to keep an eye on that's going to get a lot of work in the 3 in that slot, 3 wide receiver sets is Dontarius Spencer. He could be, because not many people know about him, he could be somewhere throwing a 2-flex league.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But you're starting Patrick, you're starting Sutton here. As for the Baltimore side, you're starting Lamar, you're starting Andrews. Yeah,
Mark Andrews, tight end.
And you're probably starting Hollywood Brown despite those drops last week.
Yeah, you're going to have those games. I think his ceiling's too high not to play him. And I say that with Rondell Moore on my bench.
And I will say right now, Denver's been a good defense, but they really haven't played anybody.
Here's the thing with Denver. The 3 teams that they played combined are 0-9.
Yeah.
So let's just go with that.
But they've always had a good defense. They were a little down last year, but they got some key pieces back this year. Brian, who's your pick for this?
I think the Ravens, they squeak out wins somehow. I mean, they blew one to the Raiders. They blew it against the Raiders, but then they came back against the Chiefs. They came back against the Lions. I think they either control this one pretty easily, or they win. I just think they win it. I think they pull it off somehow. Baltimore.
I will go
Crockett,
with...
that one's for you, bud. If you're watching, or if you ever watch it. Shout out to my buddy Crockett in the Marine Corps.
I'll go with Denver.
Fair. We'll see what they're made of.
Yep. Our next game, we have Pittsburgh at the 6.5-point favorite Green Bay Packers. Ben Roethlisberger didn't practice with a pec injury. Even if he doesn't practice, he's likely the starter as long as he can go. Juju Smith-Schuster didn't practice yesterday, was a limited practice participant today. Deontay Johnson was a limited participant with his knee injury. Honestly, it's hard to say to start any of these receivers. If I'm taking a shot on one, it's probably Deontay Johnson if he plays. If he doesn't and Juju plays, I would take a shot on Juju PPR leagues.
It's hard to tell, man.
Najee Harris, I could potentially see him getting shut down this week, but the volume and talent are there. But this offensive line's so bad, they have more holes in the kids' jeans these days.
Swiss cheese out there.
Najee Harris is good. You want to see him succeed, but it's going to be hard too with this offensive line. As for the other side of the ball, Aaron Jones was limited with an ankle injury. I don't think there's an issue with him playing. And actually, breaking news, Tyler Lockett was downgraded to a did not practice today with a knee injury. So keep an eye on that injury report.
Watch it fast. So I did pick the Ravens in my $25 free bet, 14-game parlay. So I'm sticking with them. That pays out $8,045 if I win it.
So as for this, I mean, on the Packers side, you're starting Rodgers, you're starting Jones. Tunyon's not a bad start. He's touchdown dependent, but who better to look for touchdowns from than Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
You're starting Devontae Adams, and
Absolutely.
they mentioned they're looking to get Randall Cobb more involved. I'm not saying start him, but keep an eye on him, see what he does.
I'd also say keep an eye on Lazard. I know he's
Lazard.
available. Lazard. He's available in a lot of dynasty leagues just because he hasn't been getting his looks, but he's got the capability. He's got the skills. He's got the talent level.
All right, and Ryan, who's your pick for this game?
I think it's an easy one. Green Bay at home.
I went with Green Bay as well.
Since
Pittsburgh
week
did
one,
upset the Bills, but they haven't done anything since, and Roethlisberger just looks like Grandpa Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, man, Green Bay's looked great since that disappointing week one. I think Sunday night the score did not reflect how that game was actually played. I think Green Bay got homered a lot in San Francisco. I mean, that hit on Devontae Adams was definitely targeting. That doesn't even give Jimmy G a chance to get down the field and even make that a game. But yeah, Green Bay, man, I think they found their stride a little bit and they're only getting better.
All right, so our next game, we have Tom Brady and Tampa Bay with Tom Brady's return to New England. Tampa Bay is 7-point favorites, and to me that feels kind of low.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by Mac Jones yet. Mac
Jones is good. I think Mac Jones is good.
That offensive line is porous. It's porous, man.
Yeah.
It's a sponge. So many holes.
How many touchdowns do you think Brady's going to have this week?
Probably 4.
40?
4.
No, I put a bet on this one as soon as I could, afraid this spread was only going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tampa Bay's going to beat this easily.
Oh, yeah.
Brady holds a grudge.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
So Antonio Brown, he was back today. He was activated from the COVID list. They're saying he's likely going to play. Even though Brown only played one game with the Patriots, this could be considered a revenge game for him too. You got Gronk, who he didn't practice with a rib injury. He's not missing this game.
No, I mean, I thought it was hilarious hearing that story from Gronk where they said, "Hey, you've been traded to the Lions," and he's like, "You can't trade me, I'm retired." And then he came out of retirement and played in Tampa Bay a year later.
Forced to trade to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Honestly, you gotta think Brady's gonna get Brown a touchdown at least, Gronk a touchdown.
Maybe.
I think he will. He's gonna be targeting these twos like, "Hey, left here. We're gonna show you."
I still think Godwin and Evans are still solid.
Oh, yeah.
RB1 or
wide receiver
1s and 2s. Man, those two. This offense is explosive.
I put this note in here. Giovanni Bernard. He didn't practice with a knee injury. He was the best running back last game.
His
You're
only
probably not starting one of these.
His only value is if they're down and they need to throw.
They weren't down. Well, they were down, but I don't think his only value is that they're down because Tom Brady likes to dump it off. Look at James White.
Yeah, but
He used to do it all the time when they weren't down.
I just, with the split backfield there's 3 guys that get the ball to. You're not playing.
Yeah, you're not playing one of these running backs, but if you have to, like in a dynasty league.
Sure.
That's why I wanted to bring this up.
Sure.
N'Keal Harry, he has returned to practice from the shoulder injury. He's designated to return. It just makes this wide receiver core even more crowded. Honestly, I'm not starting anybody on the Patriots right now.
No, not until that offensive line can figure it out.
That you don't know who's going to be the backup running back behind Harris. Harris can't pass block, so he's seeing less and less snaps. You're avoiding this. So
probably going to be Ramondre Stevenson or J.J. Taylor.
But Brandon Bolden had the snaps over Taylor last week, so who knows? Probably
just comfortability with the playbook, and now they have a full week to get these guys.
Well, Taylor's been there for 2 years.
Has he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, I think it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson.
Fair, and he's a guy to watch, and he might be more of a long-term play, like guys flashing into your bench and wait for him to break. All right, so Ryan, who's your pick for this game?
The Bucks. This is a confidence pick of 14.
Same. I told you I placed the bet for the Bucks to beat the spread.
You better have placed like $3,000 on it.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. All right, so our last game, the Monday night game. Las Vegas Raiders, they get their second Monday night game of the year versus the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 3-point favorites. Josh Jacobs, toe injury, hasn't practiced since week 1. you're not risking it unless you have Peyton Barber, and even then, actually, teams can run on the Chargers. I would consider starting Peyton Barber. So if you wanted to risk it,
had a pretty good game last week.
If you wanted to risk it and you have Peyton Barber,
well, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. You understand? I would play Peyton Barber in the flex position, but he's not an RB.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you have Jacobs and you wanted to risk it, if he's not available and you have Peyton Barber, that's the only way I'd risk this.
Yeah, same.
Mike Williams, he's been going off this year, but he'll mostly be shadowed by Casey Hayward, who is another good shutdown corner. You're starting him, but it could be a little bit of a down week this week. Keenan Allen's full go. You're starting him. Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert.
Yep.
Derek Carr.
Yep.
Brian Edwards for the Raiders. He performs in the fourth quarter and overtime when Derek Carr finally was like, hey, he's out there. He's a big guy. Let me get him the ball.
Yeah, I mean, the only other guy you're playing, Waller. I don't know if you mentioned him.
Waller's probably the only pass catcher I'm throwing out there from the Raiders.
You just can't. Until Edwards gets more target shares, I would not play him yet.
And if you need that big play, like you're already down big after tonight's game.
Stop.
Sorry, I thought one of the dogs fell down the stairs. If you're down big, Ruggs could be that high ceiling, low floor guy that can bring you that comeback if you wanted to try it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so Ryan, who is your pick for this matchup?
Man, I'm sorry, Derek. I'm sorry, Carrier, but I'm going with the Chargers at home. That was an impressive game last week in Arrowhead. The Raiders just get by on the little hairs on their chins. I mean,
you gotta wonder how long that's gonna last.
Right. You know, they came back against the Ravens.
They won an overtime game against the Dolphins.
The Dolphins, I mean, I can't remember who they played week 2. Oh, the Steelers. They won that one pretty well. But it was still a close game against the Steelers, who the Bengals just completely obliterated. I got to go Chargers on this one.
Yep, I'm going with the Chargers as well. All right, Ryan, anything you wanted to add before we close up this podcast?
Nah, man, hooday. I'm excited for football. Hey, I've tried to squeeze in watching some film on these younger guys, college guys. Let you know who to look forward to, who to look for if your season's not looking so well and you want to sell your studs right now to try to get younger guys. I'm gonna have to wait until the off season. I just working 50 hours a week. I can't swing it.
Yeah.
The wife wants to do things. The dogs need my attention. My job needs my attention. My house needs my attention. Once this season's over, I'll be able to start Googling guys and watching some film on them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will say more of the off seasons when I start watching film. I'll watch the games live, but off seasons when I start watching film.
And you can still make trades in the off season, so.
Yeah. But I will say sometimes it's easier to keep an eye. I mean, realistically, I think this is a decent set of wide receivers this year, but I'm actually been. I'm also trying to stack up on next year's, the 23 draft class.
Yeah, 2023 looks to be more promising because the running backs all seem to be juniors. All the running backs and quarterbacks seem to be underclassmen.
Yeah.
There's no solid seniors that I'm really...
There's solid quarterbacks out there. There's not that elite team builder.
A new quarterback I added to my list who is actually a senior is Sean Clifford from... Penn State, who went to St. X here in Cincinnati. Actually, my neighbor's son played football with him in high school. Thought that was pretty cool. But he's been pretty impressive this year, too. He might be somebody to look at. But, again, I'll get to that off-season, and I'll start digging in and taking my notes.
All right.
I can only watch so many games.
And then, so either tomorrow night or Saturday night, I'll have a new DFS video out for everybody. I'll build a lineup. I'll go over how mine did last week. Other than that, we'll see you guys on Monday.
Oh, yeah. DFS. Arizona Rams. Sorry, Cardinals and Rams. Stack those lineups in your DFS. Just those two teams. That's all you need.